Yeah, because I'm the
Hey,
yapper.
everybody, and welcome to this episode of A Romantasy Roundtable, a tale of Rick and Roses. I'm Rick, and I'm joined with my roses.
Amanda.
And Kim.
And
Julia, here's a special guest.
we have a special guest, Julia, we're just going to go all in, the CEO, president, and founder of Brainwell, period. When you're not feeling good and you fall on your head and you wake up feeling like you want to be dead, you gotta go see someone and get your brain well. Brainwell.
I feel like most of your audience has no idea what you're talking about, even though that jingle is extremely catchy.
There you go.
Actually, I feel like, our audience, aka Jamie, thank you, we love you.
And
Melissa.
Shout out to Melissa, who wore a golden wyvern on her shoulder to the party last night.
She brought that to my Galentine's party. This is why my voice sounds like this today, by the way, y'all. I don't usually sound like this.
I will shout out Mel and Cindy as well. So, we are up to 4 dedicated listeners. Thank you.
Hell yeah, Rosebuds.
If they have been with us from the beginning, they know Brainwell.
This is where I jump in and say we would really appreciate if you like this video, if you subscribe to this. I know you're there. I see the statistics. They're not bad. So please like the video. Please subscribe. Please use that email address, which is romantasyroundtable@gmail.com, which has been active, and we have some emails. But before we even get there, I'm going to go ahead and say this episode, aside from Brainwell, is unofficially sponsored by a book that we will be reading soon called The Snow Queen's Heir. We have an advanced early copy. Author is Kalila Jude. So this is unofficially sponsored by that book, which will be coming out later in March. But back to our emails. So we have our good buddy, hold on, where is it? Here we go. Jamie Dawes. And
Hi, Jamie.
Hi, Jamie. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to just jump to the middle. He says, second of all, we're skipping the first of all for now. Second of all, not that I took any offense, but I am 100% a man. Not.
Hi, Jamie.
What's up, bro? I'm sorry. I'm just used to being the only sword in the armory, right? So, look, I looked at the statistics. Jamie liked that one. Am I right, bro? I looked at the statistics, and it's like 97% women. So that's our bad. All right, so here's what Jamie...
Question. If you're a sword, what are we?
Do you want the answer?
No, I do not want the answer.
She doesn't want the answer. No. All right, so
if we're going from heated rivalry, we are the holes to the pegs.
I haven't read it.
It's not there yet.
So, all right. So Jamie says, good morning, afternoon, or night, whenever you read this. This is Jamie from the Spotify comment section pronunciation person. We know you, bro. Don't worry. First and foremost, loved the accent. Nailed it, guys. I nailed it. And Jules, you are you're gonna be in on this too. That's a top. So he says it's a top 5 American attempt at an Aussie accent. Please, can we now get the attempt from Amanda, Kim, and now Julia?
I nominate Chidi. You gotta stop, bro. I nominate my daughter to come in and do it because she's actually really good at accents.
She is actually very good at it. So we have to do an Australian accent?
Yep.
Nar.
Arnar.
Arnar. The condensation. Arnar.
Why don't you say welcome to Romantasy Roundtable. We are reading Throne of Glass.
Nope.
Why? Why not? Why did I have to read the whole thing?
I literally Ellie.
Oi, governor.
No, right?
No,
that's I go to a British accent also. Like my brain just doesn't do
Romantasy Roundtable. No.
Right. I'm thinking more of like a
and I'm gonna go Southern also. Like I'm gonna end up like sounding like a Southern.
No, you have to do it.
Welcome to Romantasy Roundtable, y'all. We're reading Throne of Glass.
Right? Welcome. Y'all want me to do my Rhode Island accent? You love that.
I literally can't do an Australian accent. Like I actually don't know how.
You have to chew on your vowels.
You have to chew on your vowels.
And there's a lot of vowels in Welcome to Romantasy Roundtable. Romantasy Round. Nope.
Round.
Jesus
Round.
Christ.
Jamie, we are failing you.
We're so
I'm
sorry.
We're sorry,
It's
Jamie.
probably really offensive. I'd be offended.
Don't unsubscribe.
Right? I'm also sorry to all of our other Aussie listeners, all one of you, outside of Jamie.
Oi, governor. So he also comes back and says,
Matey?
What?
Right?
It's just mate.
Hiya, matey. Mate?
Good day, mate.
Good day, mate.
You call that a knife? We've had some.
Call that a knife? Yeah.
He had some assistance for us in pronunciations. All right, so I was right. I tried to overcorrect myself, but I was right. He says Endovier is Endovier, not Endovier, right? Which is weird because her name is Kaltain Rompier, but it is Endovier.
Okay.
That's fine.
Right. And none. So she can't decide if she wants to have French pronunciations or not. It's really what SJM is up against here.
Chaol, Amanda is right. Chaol. I still can't say it right. Chaol.
It's kale. It's
Kale.
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 You say kale with a southern accent. It's kale.
Kale.
Those sound the same to me.
Oh my God.
Thank you.
Whose sister are you?
Mine. She's mine. My sister. A darling.
You're from Florida and you live in the deep south.
So it is a darling, right?
Honestly, that's my least favorite one.
Nehemia. Amanda's right. Nehemia.
I'm sorry,
Nehemia.
Kimberly. Can you tell us how you pronounce Nehemia?
Yeah. Her name is Nehemiah.
This is why we didn't have her on the podcast last week.
I read it so we have a politician here, Nikemia Williams.
Sure.
She's a congresswoman, and I feel like that's always helpful for me with Romantasy pronunciations. Is I'm like, oh, that's close to this, right? Like kale with a southern accent.
Yeah, kale.
Okay,
Nehemia.
well, here is my frame of reference on the Real World Philadelphia, I believe. There was a Nehemiah.
Like a Jeremiah with an N.
Yeah.
And we hit this one last week because you looked it up, Amanda. It is Samhain.
Samhain, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then Jamie also says, love the pod, love the vibes, and love the views. And Jamie, I sent Jamie a $10 Amazon gift card. And that one took a little work because Jamie is in Australia, which means I had to make an Australian Amazon account to send it. But I had fun doing that. It was okay.
So now if you're Australian, you can enter our giveaways.
Honestly, if you're Australian, it's cheaper for me to send you a $10 gift card than if you live in America. So keep them coming.
That's true. Shout out to our Australians and our Canadian friends.
Who pays the tariff on that, though?
Look, I don't know. All right. Then we have one from Melody from work.
Yay!
Melody.
Hi, Mel.
All right. Dearest Rick and Roses, or Thorn and Commandy. That's Faye for Kim and Amanda. In regards to, oh my God, Akafaf, A Kingdom of Flame and Fire, right? Is it?
Flesh and Fire.
Flesh and Fire, right. Consider my proposal for a return to this series akin to suggesting a periodic roasting session. I'm thinking that show they had in the aughts on MTV, or was it Comedy Central, where there was a single figure that sat on the throne while various comedians made fun of them.
So she wants us to roast Poppy.
Right.
Yeah, Mel, and I think, which is crazy to say, but the person who is not in agreement with this now is Rick.
Yeah.
Who was the person who got us into the series in the first place and now refuses to continue reading it.
It's so bad. Maybe. I would consider roasting it. Then Mel says, in regards to Akatar, Nesta is my queen. Suck it, Kim. I added that part. I love when someone can pull themselves out of the depth of toxic self-loathing. I hope there are at least 2 more books about her. Elaine can eat it.
2 more books about Nesta. Ooh.
In regards to Brimstone,
I think that's where we're headed. Yeah.
In regards to Brimstone, I'm assuming none of you held the fancy hardcover version in your hands because I think you would have mentioned it. It's very special. I have. I grabbed it at Barnes & Noble. It's really
very
cool.
pretty.
Yeah.
We picked it up at Love and Legends. At least I did.
And let's see. Hold on. Oh no. Well, yeah, I'll just read this anyway. So, Megs, who wrote us a few weeks ago, I also sent Meg a $10 Amazon gift card, and Meg was very appreciative. And she asked if she was like, "Can I give this to you to donate to your class?" And I said, "No, you keep it. Amanda runs all the community events, and I have a budget, so we'll do something in your honor, and we'll like name it the Megan D Award or something."
That's so fun. She can sponsor our Scooby snacks.
There you go. Yeah,
that's a fact.
Those are our emails. And that's what we got.
Yay!
Keep them coming, everybody. Keep them coming.
What are we reading right now?
We are reading the book that you liked because I saw your stars. Throne of Glass. And we are reading chapters 27 through the end of the book, which we have the notes for, courtesy of Gemini. And I think like going two at a time is pretty solid. So if you want to do that and then we'll talk about it.
I'm just going to read them and just like interrupt me if we got stuff to say.
Sure.
So we start off in chapter 27.
Nehemiah. No, Nehemiah. See, you want to do it.
No, I wasn't sure if it was Nehemiah or Nehemiah or Nehemiah. Nehemiah.
Can I ask a question before we get started?
Wow, we're ready.
Because we have a special guest today, I was curious as to Julia's history with the series.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, we can.
When she last read this, and what are sort of her initial thoughts as she is now joining us.
So I read Throne of Glass embarrassingly recently for me to remember so little about it, but this is something I'm notorious for, is I read a book and then because I move on so quickly to the next book, immediately forget everything. I did take notes on a book that I read recently and did not enjoy the note-taking part because like sometimes I'll just highlight things if I like it, but to actually like really take notes to be able to talk about it like you guys do, that was hard for me. And Amanda and I think are talking about about that book together.
We're gonna do a very, very special short segment at the end of this episode about that book.
So I read Throne of Glass. I'm looking it up so that I can be really specific.
It was really recent. We read it because
January 8th was when I finished it. And then I read Assassin's Blade. I finished it January 31st. So I have been told by many people that this series will change my life. There's apparently one very big long book in this series that people take with them when they're shopping for purses to make sure it will fit in the purse because that's how important this book is. And I was at a bookstore once and a stranger told me, I've read that book 10 times and it changed my life. And it's like this big. So I'm like, all right, if it's worth rereading a book that is that big, then I'm curious. But I enjoyed Throne of Glass. I didn't enjoy Assassin's Blade as much, but I kind of got the vibe that we're going to be revisited by many of those characters in Assassin's Blade. And I love world building. That's my favorite part of Romantasy. So I'm excited to see what else this series brings us.
And she's read all of the courts of all the colors. She hasn't read any of the Crescent Cities.
Not yet.
So that book is called Kingdom of Ash. And in my opinion, it's too short. There you go. It's not long enough.
That's what the people said.
I hope that's not what she said.
Me too.
Should we get into it?
Please. That's what she said.
That is what she said. All right. Chapter 27. Nehemiah and Celaena are inspecting the creepy word marks by the clock tower when Cain interrupts to drop a bombshell. He knows she's a Darlin's assassin. He taunts her about her past in Endovier, trying to goad her into a fight that would get her disqualified. It takes every ounce of Celaena's restraint not to gut him right there in the garden, but Nehemiah drags her away before she blows her cover. Cain fucking Barlow.
Cain fucking Barlow.
Cain fucking Barlow. Chapter 28, Dorian finds a frustrated Celaena failing miserably at billiards and steps in to teach her, leading to a night of innocent touching and not so innocent flirting. They bond over books and share a rare moment of vulnerability where Celaena admits she once wanted to be a healer, cracking open the door to her past just a sliver. He walks her back to her room and the chemistry is so thick you could cut it with a pool cue. I have kind of a question here. So sometimes when you're reading romantasy books, they're like playing soccer. And sometimes when you're reading romantasy books, they're playing Quidditch. right? And so I'm just wondering, like, in this universe, we're playing pool, just like regular pool. It's not like fairy Q or like pocket ball.
I had a similar thought. Like again, I haven't thought about this book in weeks, and then seeing that, I was like, oh, they totally play pool. And I remember thinking, like, when was pool first invented as a party game, as a parlor game, as whatever? Like, I imagine that being a very modern thing, and I always picture romantasy taking place in the times of your times, y'all.
But he like goes up behind her like the oldest trick in the book, which, like, okay, spoilers for the book Julia and I are talking about later, Magical Meet Cute. There is like a ghost pottery scene.
Yeah.
No. And I'm like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing?
Very like wonderful cliche trope, like, you know, coming up at the pool table, and yes, we love to see it. But in this world, really,
if you want to write a contemporary rom-com, Sarah, I'll read it.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, she is playing the piano forte.
Right.
Like, we're not even calling it the piano. We're calling it the piano forte here. And then also playing billiards in the same room, basically.
It's a choice.
It is a choice.
Do you think it's just like it would have taken way too much time to develop an entire game from scratch in this fictional world, and they would make the book way longer?
Do they play?
Yeah, and this one's like sexy, you know.
Rick has his handwriting.
Yes, Rick.
Billiards was invented in the 14th century.
Really?
Yep.
The your times.
The your times.
Mm-hmm. I learned something
in
today,
France,
everyone.
apparently. So when we have a name like Kaltain Rompier, I guess it matches. You know.
Okay.
Wow. I learned a cool fact about France today. If we want to do a very quick tangent, guillotines are the reason we have fancy French restaurants. Because of guillotines, there were all these like chefs working in royal kitchens who had nowhere to go. And so all these like fancy restaurants opened up, and that's how people like us, if we feel like a splurge, have access to fine dining.
You're welcome. Crazy.
Which is honestly like so in line with the purpose of the guillotine.
Yeah.
Incredible. Okay, so we're playing pool. I don't know. Rick and I talked about this last week. I guess we'll talk about this at the end. This is the moment where I was like, all right, I guess Dorian's the guy, but like, I don't really want Dorian to be the guy.
Why?
I am 100% Team Dorian.
I'll tell you why, but why is like later in the episode.
Okay, fine.
I don't have beef with him, but like, I don't want him to be the guy. But
He's
I think
real mid at this point.
Agreed.
Like, I find him a bit of a dweeb, and I'm not swooning for him. And I would like to swoon for a leading male character.
I also, Rick's been reading a lot of Allie Hazelwood, so we've been texting about this. I want a refrigerator-sized man who cannot express his emotions through anything but a series of grunts. Give me an Allie Hazelwood grumpy grump, and that's Chaol.
But then he's secretly really smart, and then he has a soft side.
But he's the size of a refrigerator,
right? I was like, Tristan, sorry,
Tristan's not the size of a refrigerator. I actually wouldn't want him to be, but in
a book boyfriends are different than like people you're going to spend your life with, you know?
Yeah,
it's true. My ex-husband, size of a refrigerator.
In an attempt to keep us on track, we're 20 minutes in and 2 chapters in.
Okay, you say that,
talk about guillotines,
but the first like 14 minutes were us talking about other stuff. So, okay.
I'm trying to help.
Chapter 29. Chapter 29. During a sparring test, Varen makes the mistake of insulting Celaena and implies she's sleeping her way to the top. Rude. She snaps, unleashing her full skill to brutally incapacitate him in seconds, shocking the court and proving she's done playing the weakling. Then she gets in Cain's face, promising that his time is coming, while Chaol watches with a mix of awe and concern. Great. Chapter 30, Chaol interrupts Celaena's archery practice with grim news. Varen has been found murdered, his body mutilated and surrounded by word marks. Cheaty. They investigate the gruesome scene where Celaena deduces that the killer is summoning a creature to do their dirty work. She realizes the word marks are the key to the murders, but the mystery is only getting bloodier. I have to tell you, I don't remember any of these motherfuckers' names except Cain.
Yeah, no, you don't need to.
Yeah.
They're useless.
Do you guys want to talk about how they know it's a creature at this point in the game?
Well, I want to talk about, like, this is like the third or fourth person that they find, like, disemboweled with no brains. And then Celaena's like, I think it might be a coincidence. Like, I think there might be something going on.
This is your biggest problem with this book. You've brought it up like 10 times.
It really is. Like,
I think the characters are supposed to be dumber than the reader. And I don't know if it's like trying to make us feel smart that we've figured out more, but the things that we're figuring out are pretty obvious and feel like they should be obvious to the characters in the story too. That was kind of the vibe I got.
Again, I think
I also feel like,
good.
I mean, I don't feel like any of these murders have received sort of the amount of alarm that they should. Because they're like, no, Vernon is dead. And it's like, but his brain was taken out of his head and he was disemboweled. It's like, this is not just a casual murder.
Thinking ahead to later, I actually think that does make sense. Because like everyone kind of like the big people know about it. So he's probably like, yeah, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
So it actually,
I guess that makes sense.
that does make a little sense. Sorry, go.
Yeah. So I think at this point they like know it's a creature because there's like claw marks.
Yeah. And this is where Celaena is like, she like does a little investigating, and she's like, she like outsmarts everybody, and she's like, y'all are stupid because like, number one, look at the lighting. He would have seen it was coming this way. Look at the dirt under this dude's hand. He was like trying to get away. How dumb are you?
Celaena is like Velma in the Scooby-Doo skit.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, this is Carrion in Brimstone, where he's like, hey, look at the ears and look at the eyes. And actually, these undead zombie folk are actually human.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's like, oh my God.
Everyone's like, oh my God.
No way.
The bimbo is smart.
Speaking of Quicksilver, I see that you're reading that, Julia. Good for you.
Thank you. I'm excited about it.
Me too.
We were talking to Melissa about it last night because she wore like her thing that she was proud of in the last year was she wore like fairy ears and had like a wyvern on her shoulder and like a plant crown and stuff. And she was like, I kept plants alive and I read a lot of books. And that's what I'm proud of. And I was like, it's giving Carrion Swift plant magic.
Love it.
Love it.
And she loved it. Okay. Chapter 31. Queen Elena appears again to give Celaena a cryptic hint to look to the right for answers. In the next test, which involves identifying poisons, Celaena realizes the answer is Pelor, the assassin standing to her right, who signals the correct goblet. She wins the test, and Cain ends up poisoning himself with belladonna, giving everyone a hilarious moment of schadenfreude. I thought this was cool.
I liked it a lot. I really liked it a lot.
Yeah.
They've been like, I guess at this point I was like, oh, right, isn't there like a potions guy?
Mm-hmm.
So I was really excited that Severus Snape showed up and like taught us about potions. But also, like, what a hint to just be like, look to the right.
Yeah, no, this is a great little fun chapter.
And also, what a hint to learn your potions and your poisons.
That's correct. Chapter 32, Nehemia arrives at Celaena's door in tears, revealing that 500, do we know if it's Elwë or Elwë?
It's Elwë. I know it's Elwë.
Okay.
I've listened to enough pronunciation guides.
Nehemia arrives at Celaena's door in tears, revealing that 500 Elwë rebels have been massacred by Adarlan's soldiers. They bond over their shared grief and hatred for the Empire, cementing their friendship in tragedy. Later, they visit the kennels, where Dorian gives Celaena a golden puppy that was scheduled to be killed, proving he has a heart beneath the crown.
If anything happens to that dog, I'm going to scream.
Yeah, we're going to do this right now because Kim is mean, and it's one of the first things I asked her for. Everyone, if you're reading this for the first time, just know the dog is fine. Fleetfoot is fine. Nothing will happen to Fleetfoot in this entire series.
Thank you.
Very important.
Yep.
Also, this kind of gave Dorian some points in my book.
Yeah.
As it should, because Dorian is our king.
Okay.
I do love Dorian. And I also love Fleetfoot.
I really...
Guy, clearly. Again, the cat is named.
We love a little guy. I really like Fleetfoot. I like that Celaena's like, that dog over there who like doesn't like anybody. I love her. And I relate to that.
I also love that it's a her because I feel like so many of our little guys are little dudes.
Yeah.
And she's a little lady.
She's a little lady.
Little Fleetfoot. I also want to say that in the notes in the last section, because I was re-listening to last week's podcast, we refer to the hounds as fleet-footed hounds.
I know.
Like that's what Gemini told us.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh my God. And Gemini didn't have the second half of the book.
I picked it up too. It says it in the book. I picked it up because I knew the dog's name. I was like, oh, that's pretty funny.
That's cool. We should talk about the rebels. So Princess Solidarity, Nehemia, has her royal family has been like aiding the rebels. We talked about that in the last episode. This sucks that they just massacred 500 people. Like, I feel like, again, we read a lot of books, empire bad, like we get it.
Yeah.
But this particular empire, like the way that slavery happens in this book and seemingly the way that genocide happens in this book is like, it's really dark.
Yeah.
So I will say it's actually one of the things I really love about this series in general is that there are stakes and she doesn't really veer away from how bad they are. Right. And this is like nothing.
It feels like it's heading that way.
Yeah.
So well said. I think that that's really important. It's an important backdrop to have as all of this is going on, where it's like, we're looking for a champion and there's all of these tests, and it's like, well, of course this is what the elite are doing. Well, meanwhile, look at what's happening to the people. Right. And like, why aren't the rulers doing anything about this? And it's important.
Yeah, no, I like it a lot.
No, but it's also like, it's Hunger Games, it's bred in circuses.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I guess what I'm saying is like
empire bad.
But also what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that this is like the biggest ultimate bad. I definitely could see that it's going up from here. I'm saying that the way that it's bad feels really real.
No.
Yeah.
Yes. Like,
and it's this dark in the first or second, however you define the series, book, where it's like, oh, if it's only going up from here,
right,
we're coming out swinging. Like, this is already really hard.
Right.
There are a couple scenes in the next couple books, which frankly aren't necessarily connected to a lot of sort of like the big overarching plot points, but drive a lot of this home. And they are frankly some of my favorite moments in the books. Of like, this is so impactful and so powerful in terms of thinking about the impact, as we're saying, on like the world, on the culture of the various provinces, states, however we're defining sort of the regions of the world. And I really love SJM for doing that.
Yeah.
Chapter 33. Kaltain Rompier is drugged and interrogated by Duke Parrington, who fishes for dirt on Lillian, who is Celaena, to discredit her. Meanwhile, Celaena catches Nehemia reading advanced books in the library, realizing that the princess has been faking her poor grasp of the common tongue. The deception plants a seed of suspicion in Celaena's mind. Could her best friend be the one behind the dark magic?
I had a thought about this. I remember at this point thinking that she's kind of like, oh no, Nehemia is actually smart, and what else has she been lying about to me? But meanwhile, Celaena has been using a pseudonym. Celaena has been lying about, she's actually not this like wimpy little girl. She's actually smart. She's actually strong. She's actually kind of a badass. And it's like, both of these ladies are doing the same thing. What would happen if they teamed up instead of worrying about each other?
Why do I not have plugging them up?
Yeah, no,
not wrong.
I never considered that, but you nailed it. All right, Julie,
and I agree with that, except for, and I think, and we'll get this by the end of this book also, but like the fact that Nehemia,
no,
not Nehemia, Tiny
knows more about Celaena than she does about Nehemia.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so there's sort of an interesting, what I find sort of like power dynamic, at least in the friendship, that's not really fully explored in this book as much until the end, when they kind of have a little bit of a heart to heart, and it gets, more pronounced in the second book. But where they're obviously not being fully open with each other about their identities and their motives, etc.
I also want to bring us back to, I know we were just talking about like how real this is. And so like Kaltain is an opium addict.
Yep.
Yeah.
And she's not like a fairy wine addict. Like she is an opium addict. And so again, that's like, I think we're really, the way that things are bad here are really realistic.
Yeah.
But she's an opium addict because she's got these headaches, and the headaches are worse when Duke Parrington is fiddling with his ring. And the ring is like a big, scary black stone. That's what we know.
Yep.
Okay.
That is what we know.
That is what we know. Chapter 34, Celaena is laid low by terrible cramps. Again, the things that are happening are really real. And Chaol visits her room only to flee in sheer panic when she vomits and mentions her monthly cycles. I just want to like defend Chaol for a second here. He doesn't flee because she has her period. He flees because she pukes all over the floor.
Oh, yeah. My husband has put up with a lot of health things for me over the years. And when I delivered our daughter, I had a lot of vomiting as I was going into labor. And he talks about to this day how hard that was for him when I went into labor and was vomiting. It's hard on him. So, real stories in a fantasy world.
Yeah.
Once again.
Dorian shows up later with a trashy romance novel, Sunset's Passions, to cheer her up, proving he can handle a sick woman far better than the captain of the guard. I disagree, but it's fine. They have banter and flirt, deepening their bond over bad literature and pain. Kim?
She'll be back.
Okay, chapter 35. Dorian and Celaena walk in the snowy garden where he opens up about his hatred for his father's cruelty and his own feelings of helplessness. He recognizes the Eye of Elena amulet she wears and in a moment of tenderness kisses her on the cheek. The romance is cut short when Celaena returns to her room to find a word mark drawn in chalk under her bed.
Dum, dum, dum.
She believes marks her as the next target. I saw that and immediately was like, that's Nehemia protecting her.
I didn't know if it was Nehemia protecting her, but it was somebody protecting her. Is Kim coming to you?
Do we want to ask her to do an Australian accent?
Hey, Ellie,
Ellie just walked in. We're going to ask them to do an Australian accent. No, we have been instructed to do an Australian accent, and both of us are really bad at it. Would you mind taking the mic and doing one for us, please?
I'm only good at doing a British accent.
You are very good at a British accent.
Okay.
You can do both if you want to.
Good day, mate.
Yeah.
Sorry, that took me by surprise.
Is it good, mate?
Yeah.
Okay.
And no one's possible to be that bad.
You should have heard me.
Oh,
it
no.
was really bad.
Good day, mate. Yeah.
That's better than all of us.
Way better.
Learned it from
Better than all of us.
Good job.
Thank you. A+ cameo.
Excellent.
Yay.
Where are we?
Can I get my candy now?
Where's your candy? Oh, yeah.
It's a
That kind of candy.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, fancy.
Okay, bye. Okay. They're flirting. There's a word mark.
Mm-hmm.
Chapter 30.
Oh, yeah. You thought that it was.
I thought it was
Nehemia
protecting her.
Yeah.
Chapter 36. It's Yulemas.
Happy Yule.
And we're going shopping for solstice presents. Sorry, wrong book.
We love a Christmas special.
Love a Christmas special.
It's Yulemas, and Celaena wakes up to a massive bag of candy from Dorian, which she eats for breakfast, and officially adopts the puppy.
What a great day.
Great day. Despite being banned from the Yulemas ball, she decides to sneak in, fearing that Nehemia might use the event to exact revenge for the rebel massacre. She risks her freedom to protect Chaol and Dorian, proving her loyalty runs deeper than her orders. She went to the party.
I would just say that her dress looks remarkably like Feyre's dress.
I had that too.
Well, since this was written first, Feyre's dress looks like Celaena's dress.
Okay,
That's
fine.
so funny because I just read Legendborn and her dress looks like Bree's dress. So maybe there's just one dress in every
There's
book.
just one dress. It's in all the world.
Right.
They all went to the same Target.
It's the one dress trope. All right, chapter 37. Celaena endures a boring Yulemas service in the glass temple, trying to hide her red teeth from her candy bitch while Chaol keeps her in check. The ceremony drags on until the procession of the gods, where the child representing Diana, goddess of the hunt, stops to bless her with a golden arrow. Chaol promptly confiscates the weapon to avoid tempting fate, though Celaena is mostly calculating how much she can pawn it for. Great.
I will say, just so you don't forget it, just remember this scene. I don't remember why you need to remember this scene, honestly, but remember this scene.
It comes back.
Yeah. I had forgotten this, but now that I'm reading the note, my thought is Diana, goddess of the hunt. The Roman goddess of the hunt is Diana. Mm-hmm. Again, Sarah, like, be accurate or don't. I don't know. That's all I'm saying.
I'm sorry, Sarah. I know you listen. I don't agree with her.
Okay. Chapter 38. Determined to crash the Yulmus ball, Celaena tricks her guards and dons a breathtaking silver gown that transforms her into a vision of winter. Oh, this isn't the one that looks like the gown from Legendborn. What was that then? Doesn't matter. She makes a grand entrance that silences the court, catching the eye of every man in the room, including a stunned Dorian. Chaol intercepts her, furious at her disobedience, but relents and agrees to be her grumpy chaperone since he can't make a scene. Gemini says, crashing a ball in a dress that costs more than my life is the level of petty extravagance I strive for. Then in chapter 39, Nehemia leaves the ball early, clearing her name in Celaena's suspicious mind. So the assassin spends the night scandalously waltzing with Dorian. What?
I'm sorry. There's a terrarium behind me, and my dog just poked his head in it to sniff it, and a cactus poked him in the face.
Oh, Cheaty.
Cheaty.
He's not very smart. We love
Cheaty.
I know, buddy.
We all know something about not the most intelligent pets.
They're the best pets, but you can't sniff a cactus, friend. What are you doing?
All right. What's happening? Okay, Chaol leaves in a jealous huff while Kaltain plots murder from the sidelines, fueled by opium and Cheaty. You hear him?
He's in pain, man.
Fueled by opium and envy, afterward, Dorian walks Celaena to her room, and they finally share a heated, frantic kiss that leaves them both reeling.
Hell yeah, Dorian. Get it.
Good, right?
Good for her.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Good for him.
We love a cute makeout session.
Yeah, that's fine. All right, chapter 40. The next morning, Dorian visits Celaena's room with the golden puppy she saved. Okay, so I feel like, whatever, chapter 36 gave us some weird summary of the next 5 chapters. The next morning, Dorian visits Celaena's room with the golden puppy she saved, and she names her Fleetfoot. They awkwardly discuss the kiss, with Celaena admitting she didn't hate it, though she refuses to be just another conquest. Meanwhile, Duke Parrington manipulates a drugged Kaltain into agreeing to poison Celaena during the final duel to ensure Cain wins.
What a dick.
Again, look, I don't like Kaltain, but this is my soapbox. All of the women in any Sarah J. Maas story, but particularly in this one, are dealt these incredibly shitty circumstances.
Girl, you have not scratched the surface.
I know, but I'm just saying,
in general,
this was I was talking about, what's her name? In book 5 of Assassin's Blade, book 4 of Assassin's Blade, the courtesan.
Lysandra.
Yeah, I was talking about her, and I was like, I understand that we're supposed to be jealous of her and not like her, but she is just trying to survive.
She's doing her best.
The same way that Celaena is. She was also an orphan that is this is her way to survive. And so I don't like Kaltain, but this woman is an opium addict who is trying to do what society has asked her to do. And she's being used by Duke Parrington so that Cain can be the stupid champion.
Yep.
And why is she an opium addict, not of her own choosing or own design?
Yeah, exactly.
She is someone who, yes, we are led to hate in this book, and yet is one of the most sympathetic characters.
I agree.
In the whole series.
Possible circumstances.
Yeah. We love Fleetfoot. That's my other thought on this chapter. Chapter 41. Researching the strange marks found at the murder scene, Celaena discovers their word marks used to summon a demon called a Ridderak.
Yes.
Okay. To trade flesh for power. Does somebody want to explain how the Ridderak works? Because I've been yapping a lot.
Kim, you want to go? Or you want me to do it?
Yeah. So the Ridderak, so if, and Rick, you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the person who calls it, if the Ridderak kills somebody, then that person's strength gets converted into strength for the person who had been controlling the demon. And so Cain had been noted as been sort of like getting larger over time. And now we know that he had been calling these demons like the Ritterak, and so had likely been able to channel some of this additional strength from the other players that he had been killing off.
Do you remember those like .io games that were really popular among
Snake
our
and
students?
Slither?
And like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this is the Ritterak works like Slither.io did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Like,
really funny.
I'm the guy, and then I eat the other guy, and now I'm the size of both the guys.
Yep.
I'm going to keep eating the other guys and be the size of both the guys.
Is this Solid Snake?
That's
No?
not Solid Snake. No, Solid Snake is he's in Crab Battle.
Crab Battle?
Crab
We
Battle.
saw a guy with a Crab Battle tattoo in Prague, or in
Yeah.
Terezin.
Yeah.
But we were like touring a concentration camp, so I couldn't be like, I really like your Crab Battle tattoo.
This is a very uniquely Amanda problem.
I don't think anyone's ever said that sentence before, just me. New utterance, call the New York Times. Okay, so Celaena realizes with horror that the secret tunnel in her room is the only place to hide such a beast, and she goes down to investigate. She finds Cain in a hidden chamber, chanting over a black void to summon the nightmare creature.
Ooh.
Chapter 42, Cain unleashes the Ritterak on Celaena, revealing he intends to feed her to it to gain her strength, unarmed, outmatched, outnumbered, outmanned,
Outplanned. We got to make an all-out stand.
Yep, thank you.
Right?
I don't remember the words.
Ellie left. I don't know.
Okay. All right. Outgunned,
Outgunned.
outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned.
There it
She
is.
flees down the tunnels to the ancient tomb, hoping to reach Damaris.
I pronounce it Damaris, but it could be Damaris. I don't really care.
That's the most Brooklyn shit I've ever heard in my life.
I'm literally from Brooklyn, so
But where do you live now?
in Brooklyn Part 2, Jersey.
Which member of
That's
this
not true.
podcast
Brooklyn Part
doesn't
2
live
is-
in Brooklyn?
What?
I don't remember.
I said, which member of this podcast doesn't live in Brooklyn?
The one who's lived in Brooklyn longer than both of you combined.
You're just bragging that you're
Did
old.
you hear that, everyone? That was the sound of the mic dropping.
Is that true? I guess it's true.
It's very
Because you
true.
lived in Manhattan. Amanda lived in Manhattan originally.
I only lived in Manhattan for 4 years.
I know,
I've
but you
lived in
did when you
Brooklyn
first moved.
I've lived in Brooklyn for 12.
Okay, so we're close then.
You're not.
But Rick, you lived in Pennsylvania for a while.
I lived in
Sure.
Brooklyn for like low bar 32 years.
Okay. Kim, how many years have you lived in Brooklyn?
6.
We're close, Rick.
Yeah, you're cute. It's cute. It's adorable.
I'm pulling my weight.
Julia, how many years have you lived in Brooklyn?
0. But as someone who lives in the suburbs in Atlanta, we get a lot of heat for like not living in actual Atlanta and living in what we call OTP, outside the perimeter.
Mhm.
But if you saw how much bigger my house was and the new kitchen I'm about to get, you'd be like, yeah, I understand why you don't live in the city. So
Why
Rick,
I live in Jersey. Yep.
Julia, I don't understand.
best of
don't
both
understand.
worlds.
Yep.
The best of both worlds is the Hannah Montana theme song.
Yay.
All right. She's outgunned, outmanned, outnumbered, outplanned. She flees down the tunnel, hoping to reach Damaris.
I don't really
Damaris.
care. I'm not going to fight you.
I'm sorry. This dog is unhinged.
Okay. King Gavin's legendary sword. She manages to impale the beast through the eye in a brutal struggle, but not before it bites her hand with its venomous fangs. Then in chapter 43, Nehemia uses word marks to heal Celaena's poison wound, saving her life and revealing her own magical abilities. The two friends finally come clean. Celaena admits to being Adarlan's assassin, and Nehemia admits she knew all along and accepts her anyway. Nehemia renames her Alentia.
Alentia is what I
Alentia is
said.
how I've said it.
Alentia. Spirit that could not be broken, cementing their bond deeper than before. I just like, there's a lot of names that are sounding similar.
Yeah, and I'll also
We've got
say
Celaena, we've got Elena, we've got Alentia.
I don't think this name is
Celaena.
that important, honestly. Like, I think it comes back a little bit, but like this isn't a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it matters for like their
little bit,
friendship
yeah.
bond, but it doesn't matter for like.
I think it's sweet.
Yeah, it is.
She gave her a name sign.
Yeah.
In deaf culture, somebody gives somebody a name sign. She gave her a name sign.
That's what I read it as. Yeah.
All right, chapter 44. Dave has come to collect his dog.
I've been texting him. He's texting with Chidi's father, saying he's screaming at us.
Chapter 44. The next day, Celaena and Chaol run into the King of Adarlan in the hallway, and his sheer presence terrifies her to her core. She senses a cold, dead darkness clinging to him, similar to the void Cain summoned, which explains why he's so terrifying. Chaol is confused by the king's strange behavior and the mysterious death of his entire travel party. It is kind of crazy to me that like Chaol is supposed to be the captain of the king's guard, right? He does not know what's going on with the king.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I feel like the king in this entire book still remains kind of like a big question mark.
Yeah.
Like, he's terrified of him. Clearly, Dorian and he don't have a great relationship. We don't even know if like Chaol and the king are like interacting all that much. And so we're sort of like left to assume he's kind of a big bad, but we don't know anything.
Yeah.
We very much like don't know what we don't know at this point.
Yeah.
Is what it feels like to me.
Something that I really like about this book, you get it a little bit in Assassin's Blade, but you get it a lot in this book, is just how many different perspectives she's writing from. It's not a dual perspective where it's like just the guy and just the girl, which I feel like you get in a lot of rom-coms. Like you get a chapter from the king's perspective later in this book. And I just think that's a really cool way to like
bring the whole world together.
Yeah. I mean, it's also probably like the only way to do a dual perspective when you don't know who the guy is yet. But like, I think it's really interesting. Like we get a Kaltain chapter, and like I appreciate that we're like getting into some of these characters' minds in a way that like we don't in A Court of the Many Colors.
And she gets really good at it later.
Yeah.
Great. All right, chapter 45. During training, Nox notices the fresh bite scar on Celaena's hand and realizes she knows what's killing the champions. She warns him to flee the castle immediately to save his life, and he figures out her true identity before escaping into the night. Kaltain, high on opium, hallucinates shadowy wings around Cain, hinting at the dark power he now commands. So Nox is out.
Yeah, she told him to leave.
Good job, dude. Right? Get out.
Yeah.
He's fine. I don't really feel like I'd be cool if we saw him again, but I also don't care if we never see him again.
Sure.
I just feel like
served his purpose.
Yeah.
Arc
He was
complete.
a nice little side character, you know.
Yeah.
I just like expect that I don't know, we've got like 30,000 pages to go. So like I just expect that everyone's going to come back at some point. Chapter 46, with the final duel approaching, Dorian hunts in the forest, consumed by thoughts of Celaena and realizing he might be falling in love. Celaena isolates herself in her room, staring out at the snowy city and grappling with the realization that she wants to stay at the castle, not just for freedom, but for the people she's met. She prepares to face Cain, knowing the odds are stacked against her.
Stakes are getting higher. She's finding chosen family. Yeah.
If you want, I'm not telling you just. Do you want? Are you tired of reading? Do you want me to help? I'm like just thinking like, oh, do you want me to tag in? Are you okay?
Did I look like I like dissociated when I was reading that last?
No, but you said before you're like, I'm doing a lot of yapping, so I'm now feeling bad.
Oh no, it's fine.
Okay,
I just was reading and then I was also yapping, and I
Okay.
was like, I don't know. Sometimes I listen to our old episodes and I'm like, I wonder what percentage of this podcast is just me talking.
That's a POV into my life. Thanks, guys. I'll be here all week.
If people are just listening to this instead of watching this, Amanda just gave Rick a look that a sibling could only give us.
Really, Rick? On Cupid's
There's a lot of those that happen, yeah.
This is like the third time Rick has come for me today.
That's fine. Everything's fine.
And I helped him spend less money on an item.
You did.
Yeah.
You did. Thank you. It was real smart of you.
And he thinks my middle name is Elizabeth.
My middle name is Elizabeth.
Right, because our mom
we have
thought
the same middle name.
Well, our mom thought it was the
Same
only
parents.
our mom thought it was the only good middle name for a girl, and then she had a second daughter.
Well,
I mean, that's kind of why we had one kid. We were like, we really knocked this name out of the park. I guess we're done.
That's it. All right.
Also, Jules, I mean, I know you know this already, but and for everybody at home too, like this is the dynamic of our office.
yeah, this is
I feel like the three of us, and now Jules as everybody's big sister, we're all just siblings.
Monday
It's
through
a lot.
Friday.
Right.
Only Wednesday through Friday this week.
Mm-hmm.
We basically live together.
We basically
Yeah.
live together. All right, chapter 47. The final duel begins in the biting cold. It's so cold outside
It's
for
freezing.
this duel.
Yeah. Even Kaltain's like, I'm cold.
I mean,
yeah, I guess it was just Yulmus.
I like a good setting description. You know, I biting cold. I like that you can really picture that. You can feel it.
I also hate the name Yulmus. I'm sorry. Never liked him in any of the books. Ever. Anytime anyone's like, oh, it's Yulmus, I'm like, shut the fuck up.
Yulmus. Okay.
You love Rick. You love a made-up holiday.
Oh my God.
Whatever. This is Valentine's Day, which is Rick's absolute favorite
Valentine's Day.
Thing that they have all over the place at Galaxy's Edge at Christmas time. It's like a Wookie holiday that they like decided was a thing they needed merch about.
I have literally no idea what you're talking about.
Oh my God. Hang on. We'll be back.
There's a Wookie holiday and I didn't know about it?
Hang on.
I'm upset.
I mean, have you all not watched the Star Wars Christmas special?
The final duel begins in the biting cold. And Kaltain.
It's called Life Day, y'all.
Life Day, yes.
That's real, actually. That's in the movies.
Disney World during the holidays, which is a thing I enjoy doing as often as I can afford to, which is not that often. They're, like they've got all this cute like Mickey and Minnie and Santa hats, and they've got like, some like blue Hanukkah stuff and whatever, and then some, and then an animal kingdom. It's like all the animals have like kind of like nature looking things. It's a lot of like polar bears and penguins, and making it all winter festivals. And then you get to Galaxy's Edge at the studios, and it's like Happy Life Day.
Because Galaxy's Edge is meant to be immersive.
Yes. And so they're like celebrating this Wookiee holiday, and there's all this merch you can buy. And there's part of me that's like, stop trying to make fetch happen. Like, why is this a thing? And then there's part of me that's like, no, this is world building. And,
Happy Life Day, everyone. Happy Life Day.
But especially to Chewbacca.
All right, the final duel begins with a biting cold, and Kaltain successfully poisons Celaena's wine with bloodbane right under everyone's noses. Cain easily dispatches Remy, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Celaena steps up to fight the vile grave, armed with the wooden staff Nehemia gave her. Despite the freezing wind and the high stakes, she refuses Chaol's sword, determined to win on her own terms. I want to talk about this in the order that it happened. So she steps up to fight, and Chaol is like, take my sword, which is a really significant moment. And then Nehemia comes up, and she's like, take my axe. And my axe. But she chooses the staff because it is a symbol of the rebellion, because it is simple, because it is made of wood, because she can beat him with a piece of wood.
From Elwee Forest.
Badass.
Yes. Yeah. And like she wants to become, like, she's already struggling so much with what it would mean to be like the champion for this terrible king. And she's like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it with a weapon that symbolizes the terrible things this king has done.
The few things she has agency about, she takes every ounce of agency she can get. And that's what we love about our main character here.
Yeah. So in chapter 48, she destroys Grave in 2 minutes flat, breaking his nose and humiliating him before drinking the poison toast to the king. As the final duel against Cain begins, the bloodbane kicks in. She loses her coordination, her vision blurring as the poison takes hold. Cain toys with her, beating her
mercilessly.
Beating her mercilessly while she hallucinates monsters, leaving her broken and bleeding on the stones. This was scary.
Yeah. And I was like, we can't possibly be killing this character off. It sounds like there's a whole series. But I was like, this is tough to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, Ned Stark dies in the first season of the show.
Right. Like, you just never know. You don't get attached to a character ever is kind of how you have to feel about fantasy.
All right. Chapter 49, Celaena is trapped in a hallucination, surrounded by demons, until Nehemia begins a secret spell on the sidelines to intervene. A portal rips open, and the ghost of Queen Elena charges in, blasting back the darkness and purging the poison from Celaena's body. Elena heals her and commands her to stand, giving the assassin a second wind, just as all hope feels lost. Something else significant happens here, and I don't know if it's like before Elena shows up or after Elena shows up, but she's like on the ground, and Chaol comes to her and is like, get up.
Yeah.
get up, and he like scoots his hand towards, she can't step out of the chalk circle and he can't enter the chalk circle. So he like puts his hand up towards the chalk and she puts her hand up towards the chalk, and she like credits, like later she talks about how Chaol like saved her life.
Yeah.
So Nehemia saved her life and Celaena saved her life, and Chaol also, according to Celaena, saved her life.
Teamwork.
And
Chaol gave her hope in us.
This is the moment where I was like, I'm team Chaol.
Yeah.
Because although Dorian is like horrified by this happening, Chaol is her trainer. I think he knows a different side of her than Dorian does. And so I really appreciated that he was literally like on the ground with her when she was on the ground.
Yeah, but I will say that like Dorian has a lot of feels about this.
For sure.
And notably that he was like, I failed in this moment. Of like,
he did.
I should have been there. I should have.
A refrigerator would have been.
A refrigerator would have been there.
Just carried her away like Travis on that one night of the Eras tour.
Yeah. No, but I'm saying this as not necessarily Team Chaol, because I do love Dorian. And so like I appreciate that he expresses so much and like feels so deeply about how all this came about and how he feels like he failed in his response.
Yes,
and I think that's like super important in terms of like character development and understanding him too.
Yeah, like I said, I don't have beef with Dorian. I think it is more likely that Dorian's the guy than that Chaol's the guy. I'm actually wondering if neither of them is the guy. But
I don't feel that Chaol's the guy, because even though I really love this moment, it felt like a coach with an injured athlete at the Olympics. Like it felt very like, we're on this team and, you know, I know your strengths and weaknesses and I'm here to help you use what you've got to your advantage to win. Like it didn't feel romantic to me. It didn't feel platonic, but it felt like a different depth that, yeah, she could only share with
I'm
Chaol.
fine with Chaol not being the guy, but I want every happiness for Chaol.
Yes.
That's my stance.
I've been watching too much Olympics.
All right.
Okay.
Reading too much heated rivalry.
All right. Chapter 50, relieved and furious, Celaena rises to defeat Cain with the jagged end of her broken staff, sparing his life only to prove she is better than him. She is declared the king's champion, but when Cain tries to stab her in the back, Chaol reacts instantly and kills him. Celaena collapses, traumatized by the dark magic and the close call, while Dorian rushes to her side. They described the blood spattering onto Chaol like pretty graphically multiple times.
Yeah.
Chapter 51, Dorian confronts his father, securing Chaol's safety, while Kaltain realizes that Duke Parrington used her as a scapegoat and screams as she is dragged to the dungeons. Nehemia visits Celaena, revealing she used word marks to save her and explaining the ancient magic that binds them. They realize that Cain was summoning demons to steal strength and that the true danger has only just been revealed.
Yeah, and an important, I was wondering if Gem and I would note it, but like an important thing was like during the battle, like there were, I know it sort of said it, like there were all these, she was seeing all these demons and creatures.
Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah,
talk about what she saw.
She saw demons and creatures and things surrounding Cain, and they were attacking her, and you know, I think we were led to believe that it was the poison. And then Celaena comes in, you know, from like a portal-ish door, fights them off. But then at this point, Nehemia is like, yeah, no, that was real. Like there was a veil and like you saw through it because of like there might be magic in your blood and it reacted with the bloodbane. And because of it, you were able to see through the veil and see sort of this other world. And Nehemia is like, I could see it also because I'm a badass.
And you know how in some books there's this whole theme of like what is actually good and what is actually evil? I feel like in this book and hopefully in this series, it's like what is actually real and what is actually like, is this a hallucination? Is this a dream? Is this a trip? Is this you know? And it's like as we're starting to get introduced to the magic more and more, I think we're gonna have more moments like that. And I love that when you kind of like get to question things. The other thing I was gonna say about this chapter is the idea of Kaltain kind of having to figuratively fall on the sword and how real that is in like an empire bad trope where it's like when women are put in positions of power, it's often just to be like, you're the one that gets to take the hit then. And we're not really elevating women then.
opinion. This take is about Throne of Glass, and this take is not about Throne of Glass. She, as Kaltain, this is like what Gemini says, but like as she is dragged out, she screams at the Duke that she'll kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And I would like to say right here, right now on this pod, I hope she does. I hope that in this series, all of these women get to kill the men who traumatize them.
Comeuppance for everyone.
For everyone. I want fucking bloodbath for the men of the Empire. Bring out the guillotine.
Yeah.
Bring it out.
Fuck the Tsar, man.
Fuck the Tsar. May God bless and keep the Tsar far away from me. Sorry, we just got real Jewish.
It's fun.
All right, chapter 52. Dorian visits a recovering Celaena, and they share a quiet, heavy moment where he confesses he always knew she would win. We all always knew she would win. Chaol is shaken by taking a life in such a personal way, and the dynamic between the three of them shifts irrevocably. Celaena realizes she cannot have a future with the crown prince and prepares to break his heart. Chapter 53, Chaol now visits Celaena, and she seeks comfort in his arms, holding him tightly in a moment of
vulnerability.
There's no railing.
I was going to say, whew.
Oi, governor.
That was a different scene than I read.
That's not in this book. Dorian interrupts them, and Celaena finally ends her romance with the prince, telling him she chooses her freedom over him. She revels in the feeling of being free, even if it means cutting ties with the boy who cares for her. I loved this.
Yeah.
She's got to do her right now.
Mm-hmm.
She's still grieving Sam.
I know, right?
It's not time to be falling in love, Celaena.
Right.
Yep.
It's very much one of these, like, these kids can't figure this out yet.
Yeah. This has been trauma on trauma on trauma, and she is still fucking 19 years old.
Yeah.
You know?
Months out of a slave camp.
Take your 4 years and, like,
Figure
do
it
you.
out. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, chapter 54, Chaol returns to Celaena's room later that night, and she tells him she ended things with Dorian, prompting a celebratory drink between their two partners. That night, Elena visits Celaena in a dream, telling her that she has a destiny to rattle the stars and save the world, not just serve the king. It is a heavy burden, but Celaena accepts that she is part of something much bigger. Being told you can rattle the stars is a great compliment, but also a terrifying amount of pressure for a teenager.
Yeah, that would fuck me up. I wouldn't know what to do with that. Like, I feel like it's one of those moments where you're trying to empathize with the main character, and you're like, what would that be like for me? And it's like, well, yeah, you accept, but you're also like, damn.
At some point in here, we get a chapter from the king's perspective.
Yes, it's right around here.
And
he's talking to Parrington. Yeah.
He's talking to Parrington. They talk about, like,
Cain.
They talk about how they know about the word marks.
Yeah, the king knows word marks real well.
They know about the rings.
Mm-hmm.
These like the black ring that the Duke has. I don't remember if Cain had a ring too, but the king has one.
Yes, and they are talking about like what have we learned from this
with
in terms of like emotional manipulation with
Kaltain.
And then in terms of like physical, with Cain, and who else can we sort of experiment on, and what else can we learn about that?
How can we push it?
Which, like, again, I know that it is February, and this is just the content that I'm teaching every February, but like, good Lord, what in the Joseph Mengele, like, what in the Nazi Germany is happening in this book? But I mean, I appreciated having a chapter from the king's perspective, because I think it added a depth to the storytelling that we wouldn't have gotten otherwise. And I think it also signals to you, like, you're getting perspectives from lots of people, not just the good guys.
Mm-hmm.
So the opinions you're forming are not biased. You are getting a full picture.
And also, you don't know if any of the people whose stories you've read so far are good.
Yep.
Correct. Yes, I think that's so important.
And I'm sure somebody's going to stab somebody in the back, because that's how these things go. And there's just too many people I like right now.
Yeah.
There's too many books. There's too much life to happen here.
There's so many pages.
But there's going to be a lot of good stuff. Like, this book is really setting things up. For, like, this is going to get really good.
Yeah. All right, our last chapter, chapter 55, Celaena stands before the king and signs her contract. He keeps her waiting on that contract for a long ass time.
Yeah.
So she officially becomes his champion for 4 years in exchange for her freedom. The king threatens to kill Chaol and Nehemia if she fails him, locking her into a dangerous game of obedience. Not just if she fails him, but if she
doesn't come
steps
back,
out of line.
Yeah, anything.
Yeah. If she steps out of line, he's like, I will kill these 2 people because I know you care about
And then she's like, I'll kill
arm
Nehemia, I'll kill her mother, her father, her brother. Like, she's like,
yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. She leaves the throne room with Chaol, ready to face her new life, armed with her title and her dangerous skills.
And this knowledge that this is a stepping stone. I think that she has this faith that this is going to be something bigger, and she has to just kind of trust that.
Yeah.
She's got the magic in her.
She knows the way.
She only gets what she gives.
She's going to have to rattle the stars.
Rattle the stars.
SJM likes to rattle the stars.
That's
Also
I think we all have the same star rating for this book.
Yeah, I think so. I gave it 4.
Does anyone want to?
I gave it 4 stars. I gave it 4 stars the first time I read it. Give it 4 stars now. I loved it. Thought it was great. I guess there weren't enough. There were stakes, but nothing really pushed it over the edge. You know, it's hard. It's the first book. You're learning these characters, but damn, did she nail it with this?
Yeah, it's clearly a first book. And so, like, it's great, but you also know that there's so much more to happen here. So it's hard to be like, this is a 5-star because nothing is really resolved. So I gave it 4 the first time around, and I continue with that as well.
Yeah, that's 1,000% how I feel. I really liked this book. I thought it was great. I have a lot of questions. I have a lot of hopes. I have a lot of fears.
Yeah.
I know she's going to stick the landing because everyone has told me she's going to stick the landing. I know we're about to go on a really wild ride. I imagine it will be a 5-star series. And so it's a 4-star start for me.
Love the world building. Love the setup. I feel like, not as a rule, but typically I only give something a 5-star rating if it makes me cry. And
I'm on too many psych meds for that.
Yeah, which is why when I cry, I'm like, wow, this broke through. But I feel like I'm going to cry in this series at some point.
I read a lot of books last year, and I think I only cried at Atmosphere and Our Infinite Fates.
Those were 5-star reads for me.
But then I cried at the matzo ball, and I was like, what's wrong with me? But only because there was like, she was a Holocaust survivor, and she was a little bubby. And
we do love a
she was
bubby.
Talking,
she was a little gal.
She was a little gal.
Yeah.
Yeah. A bubby is a contender for a little guy for sure. In my reading spreadsheet, in the soup column, I have an option that's like, so it's like cans of soup, but I have an option that's like the single kissy face emoji. And that is how much soup I'd like to give.
That's why I wanted you to get that book journal last night, because it was like you got separate. So my present that I brought for the white elephant.
We did a Galentine's Day party last night that Julia does every year. We've referenced it, but we haven't explicitly said that. And there's a white elephant, and you have to get something girly or gutsy for the white elephant.
Love that.
So that can be, sometimes someone gets like a face mask and a candle. Sometimes someone gets a toy. It's like a very wide range.
The vibrator was heavily fought over last night.
Yeah.
Then Julia was just like, I saw that woman's husband at Starbucks and couldn't look him in the eye. She stayed here charging it for like 2 hours.
Didn't want to leave until it was charged and ready to take it.
They used it together. It was great.
Good for her.
Good for her.
But no, the present that I contributed was a book talk journal, and it has separate ratings for the book and for the spice. And it reminded me of you guys with your soup ratings. Nice. But then my friend who got it does not read spice.
I have a really elaborate book journal that I set up. I meant to bring it to you.
And I was like, well, she doesn't need this because she's got a whole system.
I brought tarot cards.
I love that too.
Vicky helped me pick them out. And I got champagne flutes.
Ooh,
and you got like a little face mask.
I got a little like hot night in, face mask and cosmetic bag. And
the bag's really cute.
Yeah.
So I am using right now, this is my glass. So my friend Sarah, shout out, she might be listening also. But we had a girls' weekend 2 weekends ago, and one of the lovely people who came, Kate, made us custom glasses for the weekend.
That's so fun.
And so it's a cheers to us, and we were in the Berkshires, so it's the Berkshires and the dates. Yeah, it was lovely.
I love that.
But your party sounds amazing.
It was great.
It was fun.
So that was Throne of Glass.
Just throwing a glass.
That was Throne of Glass. What do we think is going to happen? They can't answer because they've already read it.
I think we're going to get to hear some of the assassin's adventures as the champion.
Yeah, she's going to kill some people.
She's going to kill some people.
She didn't kill anyone in this book.
We're going to get a lot of will they, won't they with Dorian. We are going to get...
Has she killed anyone?
No, she didn't, because she had a moment where she could have, but decided that...
Did she kill anyone in Assassin's Blade?
Yes.
She killed a bunch of people in that Pirate's Cove.
Yeah. And she did in the
she hasn't killed anyone. Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry. Yeah, she killed the...
In Throne of Glass, she could have killed someone, but decided to spare him just to let him live to see her badassery, which is something I'm going to fantasize about for the rest of my life.
But then,
yeah, she didn't kill him.
Yeah, I think she's going to kill some people. I don't know who the guy is. That feels like really secondary to everything else that's happening. This is barely a romantasy at this point. She's a high fantasy.
There's zero soup, I think, until book 5.
She's an epic. Yeah, she's just like an epic adventure.
And that I like that about romantasy. Like, I love some good soup, but I want this to just be like, this character deserves this moment. But otherwise, like, I just want a good story.
Yeah,
and this is going to be a really epic story.
And the soup is earned.
Yeah, and this book feels deeply, like, we've been talking about this, but this book feels like deeply feminist, but like in a liberation, like really towards the lens of like Empire bad.
Yeah.
In a way that feels like really important.
So Amanda, my question for you, and maybe Julia, a question for you also, having done this the opposite. How do you feel right now about the fact that you've read Assassin's Blade first? And then Jules, how do you feel about the fact that you've read it after?
I'm really glad I read it first. At no point was I ever mad because you guys told me that I had to, so I like didn't even realize there was another way to do it. But I'm happy I read Assassin's Blade because I feel like I came into this already knowing and rooting for Celaena, and I appreciated that. I also feel like her grief around Sam is really important context to what's happening here, and particularly what's happening here with her and Dorian, and I guess with her and Chaol, and then her grief around Ansel is important to her mistrust of Nehemia. And so and all the Arabin fucking Barlow stuff. Mm-hmm. And so I think there's just like a lot of backstory that happens in Assassin's Blade that really like colors this book in a way that's helpful. I imagine it would be cool to like go back and read that after book 3 or whatever you're supposed to. But yeah, I'm glad I read it first. My only beef with Assassin's Blade is that it wasn't as good as this book.
Yeah, and that's right. Yes.
I'm glad I read it second, mostly for that reason, that I liked Throne of Glass so much better. Yeah. And with Assassin's Blade, I don't think I really got into it until like their 3rd or 4th novella. I was like, I've been told that I need to read this, so I will. But I was really glad that I had a good foundation of like, this is the story, this is the world, this is our protagonist. And then it was like a peek behind the curtain into her past a little bit more to like understand more of who she is and why she feels what she feels and makes the decisions she made. But I was really glad that I read Throne of Glass first, just to kind of have a better book as my foundation.
Yeah, I think if I had to stop after book 3 and go back to Assassin's Blade, I would be like, why am I doing this?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So there's no wrong way to do it, is what we've learned.
Yeah, I think however you do it is the important thing is that you read the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. And read the Assassin's Blade, even if it...
I know you guys have really big feels about the tandem read that we'll fight about when we get there, but my beef with the tandem read is just that I can't do what Kim did and like flip back and forth between 2 gigantic books. But Rick has a Kindle file that's going to do all the work for us.
We don't have to do anything. We just read straight.
Yeah.
Just read straight.
But you do have to, we're not there yet, but you do have to figure out the division of what we're reading when, because I don't know how to do that.
My hairstylist, who is the person who got me into Sarah J. Maas, was the one who was like, this is how the tandem read works. And I was like, well, what would you recommend? And she was like, I would read this one and this one together. And then I would go back and read this one first and then this one. And then I would go back and read this one first and then this one. And I was like, how do you have that time? How? And she's like, no, it took like years. And I was like, okay.
People like there's
a commitment.
There's people on Etsy
She's showing.
Like
Look at it.
who have like unbound them and like chunked them and rebound. And then
the
you're like,
fandom is very dedicated.
Like, and then you can't fit 2 hands around it.
Show him, Kim.
You can't.
She's trying to show you.
I know. We're watching.
They're fucking huge. And this is Kingdom of.
Damn.
Yeah. For all of you who are not watching on YouTube, I have the actual physical book, so I'm showing the last 3 books, and they're significant.
The fact that a paperback can hold that book is like, it's like, I would have just assumed they would have like Titanic VHS'd it, where it's like, this is part 1 and this is part 2.
I know. My Girl Scouts have a badge in their curriculum this year for bookbinding, and like, I'm actually really curious about the bookbinding process of how that can be.
They should rebind a tandem read for you.
Yeah. It also has to be one that middle schoolers can get their hands on without a problem.
$9.84. That's what we're looking at when we get there.
Less than Alchemist.
I was going to say, Alchemist says, hold my beer.
Yeah. Did any of you change your reading goal for the year based on like knowing you were going to be reading really long books? Like Amanda, you read 100 books last year. Were you like, oh, I can only read 60 this year because I started throwing a class?
I changed my reading goal because I was a crazy person last year. And I was reading to achieve and not necessarily like by the end of the year, I was like, oh, I just have to like read this one more book. And so I changed my reading goal this year to reflect, like, I want to be more intentional about what I'm reading. And I would just like to let you know that I am not being more intentional about what I'm reading. I am still doing the most. But we did realize, like, Rick read, like 50 something books
like
last
56,
year?
57 books.
But because all the books he read were so long, he only read like 10,000 fewer pages than me.
That's wild.
Because he was reading.
Like I read this last year.
All of Throne of Glass and all of Crescent City. And I was reading 7 rom-coms.
Yeah.
And so like in the time that it was like, we were basically reading the same number of pages.
I have a lot of nonfiction on my TBR right now that are all like 200 to 300 pages that you'd think like, oh, that's a short read, but they're nonfiction. They're really dense and it's not entertaining. It's keeping me up at night reading through it for fun. It's like, I want to sit here and read this chapter and really absorb it. And then, it's stuff like that ends up taking longer too.
I read half of In the Weeds on the plane here. I didn't even realize that I had read so much of it. I was just like, oh, I'm at 45% on this book.
Speaking of what we're reading, let's wrap this up with our recent reads.
What else are we reading? Kim, start us off.
Yeah, I'm super simple because, well, you both know, but to our rosebuds who are listening, I have a very long week with a cat who's been very sick. So I have not done a lot of reading because I have been sitting in vet's office for a lot of this week and have been playing mindless games. So I am continuing to read Dungeon Crawler Carl because it is fun and easy and engaging. So that's
what I got. 4? You're on 4?
No, I'm on 5.
I've read 1. But you guys have been crushing it.
Yeah, I finished 4 like 2 weeks ago. Is it my turn?
I'm mostly done with 5. I'm like maybe 100 pages or so.
And there's 7 and the 8th is coming out. Is that right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I read a novella from Alex Haro, who wrote the worst book I've ever read called The Everlasting. So I gave it 3 stars. It was a 5-star story and a 1-star writing. I just don't like the way she writes.
You don't like the way she writes?
I don't.
Now you know.
It's a personal preference, but the story was really good. It was extremely short. Like I'm talking like I don't know why they call it a novella. It's like 40 pages. But it's a
short story.
I will say
that's not a novella.
I will say that like I do recommend it to everybody. Because maybe the writing style isn't just for me, maybe it's for you. But the story is, I don't know how she did that in 40 pages. Truly. Like the story was phenomenal. Then I read a little book by my girl, Allie Hazelwood, called Love on the Brain.
Did you finish it?
I did. I finished it this morning. I love that book.
I love Allie Hazelwood.
Is that your favorite of the 3?
It is.
People are wrong. Like
love
people are
and
like
brain in the title. My favorite things.
People are like, this is the worst book. I'm like, you're wrong. It's not the worst book.
I really liked it.
I also think Allie Hazelwood is like people love her or hate her, and that includes Allie Hazelwood readers, like her fans.
I
She's amazing. I think we're all on the love train.
I think Secret Heterosexuals Not in Star Wars is the worst one.
It's my least favorite of the three.
Yeah, it's my least favorite. And like, I don't know. It's like flip a coin between this and the other one for me.
Yeah. I like Love Theoretically more, just because I really relate to Elsie. But also, what's her name in Love on the Brain?
B?
B is a little fainting goat, and I'm also a little fainting goat. So I really respected that in her.
It's like, I actually, the first like 15, the beginning of this book was hard. I actually didn't like the beginning of this book. I don't know. But then it got to a point where I was just all in. So I don't know. It's flip a coin. I love them both. So
yeah,
I loved Love Hypothesis because it was the first Allie Hazelwood I read, and I was like, this author's so fun. Like, this is such a great, easy, fun read. And then, like, months later, I learned that it was Star Wars fanfic and not the kind of Star Wars fanfic that I like. And I was like, oh, now I can't see it any other way. And it was maybe going to be one that I reread over and over. And I
sent Rick. Go ahead.
I was gonna say my only. I was just to close that part. My only issue, my big issue with Love Theoretic. What is it? Is that what it is? Love Hypothesis.
Love Hypothesis. Love Hypothetical.
The Star Wars one. The Star Wars one. My biggest issue with the Star Wars one is I feel like it outstays its welcome. Like, I feel like it should have. It was a great ending point. That she went on for like 5 more chapters.
Yeah. So I sent Rick, there's a Allie Hazelwood novella called Two Can Play, which was originally just an Audible exclusive, and she's released the print version this week. And so I sent Rick a review from someone named Sam on Goodreads. This is the first review of Two Can Play. It's a 5-star review, and I'd like to read it on this podcast. Allie, they could never make me hate you for writing another refrigerator-sized male main character, having nasty, filthy, depraved thoughts for years, pining over a quirky, so tiny and small female main character who thinks he hates her for no reason other than she jumps to wild conclusions and he doesn't know how to express his emotions in any way other than a collection of grunts. It's my kryptonite. What can I say? We all have our vices, and this is mine.
Love it.
So that's why I keep talking about refrigerators.
Love it.
I haven't been reading, I guess, a ton this week because I was reading for a class. But I started the Kiss Quotient and In the Weeds, which are Into the Weeds. It's Into the Woods.
Into the Woods.
Into the Woods, exactly, right?
In the Weeds, which is the sequel to Love Light Farms. So we read we both, and I think, did you both read Love Light Farms in December?
I did not.
I did.
So we read Love Light Farms in December and liked it, except we were like, nobody believes that these people are fake dating. But my favorite character in Love Light Farms was Beckett, who you may recall is a refrigerator-sized man who communicates exclusively through grunts.
Is it his book?
It's his book.
Oh, I'm going to read that. What's that called?
In the Weeds.
In the Weeds.
It's him and the influencer.
Oh,
yeah.
Cute. Yeah, I'm gonna read that.
So I'm having a great time. I'm really enjoying it. It's dual POV, so I like that. But Julia and I both read a book that we need to talk about for at least a little bit.
Yes.
I know this is a long episode.
Wait, can I real quick talk about what I'm reading?
Oh my gosh, yes.
So I am almost done with the Villain trilogy.
Oh, nice.
Amanda got me a signed copy of Assistant to the Villain for Christmas. I devoured it. I also was at a the Junior Theater Festival, while I was reading it. And many teenagers told me how cool I was because I was reading it. And that's my goal in life, is for the kids to think I'm cool. So, devoured that.
It was a really pretty copy of that book.
It's such a pretty book.
It's like purple.
The reviews are so interesting because people really either love it or hate it. And I just think it's The Office in a fantasy world. And there's a little guy who's a frog who holds little signs.
I felt very mid about it, but I need to go back and reread it. And also, help. How
You're the only person who's mid about it. People seem to be like, this is horrible, I'm not finishing it, or this is delightful and stupid, but in the best way. I also am trying to read more nonfiction, and there was a book that I read called How to Kill a Witch that is about Scotland's version of the Salem witch trials. And as we're talking about Empire Bad, I highly recommend the audiobook because the two authors read it and they are Scottish. And for the first 30 minutes, I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And by the end of the book, I was like, I love listening to these women talk about this topic they're so passionate about. And between that and like watching Alan Cumming on Traitors, I'm just like, love Scotland, except what they did to women. But great.
That's like every country though.
Every country.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So Julia and I recently read a book called Magical Meet Cute by Jean Meltzer. And we would like...
Who wrote the matzo ball, which I did not care for.
And we'd like to tell you a little bit about it. So Julia, can you tell us what Magical Meet Cute is about?
Sure. So Magical Meet Cute is about a sad, lonely woman who is just mad about things and, you know, has been scorned before and just wishing she could start her own life, finds ways to kind of move on, and then faces some anti-Semitism in a small town. Go figure. There's anti-Semitism everywhere, but especially in a small
Woodstock,
town.
New York.
In Woodstock, New York.
Oh, okay, sure.
Maybe not that small of a town. But yeah, so in a fit of rage, just like feeling her feelings.
Oh, and she's a ceramicist.
That's important. She's a ceramicist.
Of course.
Is she
also a Vassar grad?
What's that?
I said, is she also a Vassar grad? Because it's a lot of demographics.
Maybe. I don't remember.
I don't know that it came up, or at least not like that.
She was an attorney, and she like left her high-powered Manhattan job when her fiance dumped her on a snowmobile.
Obviously,
if we don't actually like name that, we can just make that headcanon. I think that's fine.
Yeah.
So she, in a fit of rage, makes a golem, and for those listeners who are not familiar with Jewish folklore, specifically Jewish folklore in the Bohemian region of Europe, which is where Amanda and I hail from, originally, a long time ago, with ancestors. Golems protect Jewish people from our enemies. Or at least that's like according to some legends. They get into that a little bit in the book. And so she makes this golem, and then the next day when she's hungover, she hits this guy on her bike who is a beast of a man.
A refrigerator.
With long red hair.
Beautiful.
Her ceramic man that she buried in her garden after making him had red yarn on his head. So it's like, and this guy, after she hits him, he doesn't know who he is.
He doesn't remember himself.
He doesn't know his purpose. And it's kind of like, wait a minute, is that the golem? Or is it some random dude I hit on my bike who has amnesia?
And then, so she's in the hospital with him, and she's like, let's lie.
I'm his wife. We gotta go.
They
asked for no paperwork or identification.
And so they go. And she's like, what's your name, by the way? And like a bus with like John Morgan's dumb moon face on it.
Yeah. But his name's Greg.
His name's Greg. And so he says his name is Greg. But it's also really important to note that he literally can't communicate through anything but a series of grunts because he's forgotten everything, including how to speak.
And he's a refrigerator of a man.
And he is a refrigerator of a man. So he's grunting at her. And she's trying to remember, like teach him things. And her dad had dementia. And so she like knows how to deal with people who've lost their memory. And so she's like taking care of him and he's taking care of her.
And her mom was abusive. So she is like very skeptical of love between that and the fiance leaving her at the scene of a snowmobile accident.
So he starts reading all of her books and like parroting back self-help things to her and like rom-com things to her. And the most important thing that happens in this book, and it happens about 700 times, is that they eat hard kosher salami.
This book was brought to you by Hard Kosher Salami.
It's not a euphemism. They're literally just, and they refer to it as a hard kosher salami every goddamn time.
Yeah, and I have to say, as a Jew reading this book, we contain multitudes. We don't just need to eat hard kosher
it's
salami.
All she eats.
I also feel like if it was only matzo ball soup, it would at least be like a little relatable, or like throw a babka in there or something. But the fact that it's just hard kosher salami, I think she's trying to do like a millennial charcuterie, like this is relatable to all cultures, but like
all I could think of though is when Dad made you that charcuterie board that was literally just like one kind of cheese and kosher salami.
I was so proud of it. And I was like,
I'm just like, my stomach hurts thinking about that, you know.
Well, he's a refrigerator of a man, so he can cut a hard kosher salami, and that's really
circles.
Really
important. Well, he can cut it, but can he digest it? Like,
okay, so that's the other thing, because in the Golem and the Ginny, she can't eat or sleep or use the bathroom, and he does all of those things. So anyway, so she starts to suspect that he's the Golem, and she had written
calls him Greg Golem,
and she had written on her Golem all the things that she wanted him to be, and it was like
good listener, plays Scrabble.
And so they start playing Scrabble together. And
Crossplay.
then they get, fuck that game. And so they get, I don't want to play words with friends. Actually, my turn expired, so you both beat me. Congratulations. I will never be
It tells me that you played 4 days ago, by the way. So
it told me that my turn expired and you both won. So
also, Rick is so done with this right now.
I'm here. I'm listening. Greg Golem.
I want to talk about
Crossplay.
wrestling
bonus episode.
every episode.
It's an episode within an episode. This is a 1.5 episode.
So
it's a novella of an episode.
It's a novella of an episode. So, and I told you last week this was happening.
I'm not bothering anybody.
But you're not participating.
I don't know anything about Greg Golem or sausage.
You do actually. You do actually, because I told you most of this last week. So, okay. So things are getting a little flirty. There was no soup in the matzo ball.
No.
Which is a problem because it's the matzo ball. There should be matzo ball soup, but there was no soup in the matzo ball. I don't even think they kissed in the matzo ball. Mm-hmm. And so there's a little heat in this book. And they start making out and they get a little frisky, and she realizes he has a giant scar down his back. And when she made the golem, it broke and she had to seam up this crack down the back. So she freaks out and she's like, it's a golem. It's also worth noting that there's all this not neo-Nazi stuff going on in her neighborhood and
which some of the reviews I read about this, people were as someone who's not Jewish reading this book, I was like, I'm an outsider. This isn't for me. And I think there's so many books about the Holocaust written by non-Jews that are for everyone. And the fact that this is a Jewish perspective talking about overcoming adversity in this way, I was just well, I don't know. I had lots of thoughts and feelings about that. But I do also think having a very specific Jewish snack that she has 47 times in the book, I didn't actually count, but it's probably at least 40. And she also does this thing where instead of cursing, her favorite exclamation, what's her favorite exclamation?
Haman's hat.
Haman's hat, which is a reference to the Purim story, which is a holiday where we get really drunk and eat cookies. So, and we dress up in Halloween costumes. So
because the Greg Golem is learning from her, he also says Haman's hat.
Haman's hat.
She refers to herself as a Jewish, I think, too many times.
Okay. But she's witchy. She's she refers to the goddess. She doesn't refer to
which okay.
Sure.
And so there's a little gal who lives next door, who's fighting the Nazis. And there's also a little guy who's in love with her. But I would have read that book. So there's a scar on his back. She freaks out and she's like, I got to destroy the golem, because the way that the golem works is the golem will always defeat, will always run amok. No, go berserk.
Yeah.
Go berserk is what she says every fucking time. And so Julia took really copious notes. I barely took notes.
But some of my notes are really bad. At one point, well, they're entertaining if you want me to share them. For example, we're dumped by your fiance of 7 years after a snowmobile accident. I highlighted it and I wrote in the note, this is ridiculous, but also out of the woods reference.
My notes say, stop talking about hard kosher salami. Why does he have to wait 3 months for a neurologist appointment?
I didn't like that we had to mention poop so many times in the first chapter.
We talked about poop a lot. Her dog pooped a lot.
Her dog was pooping in the house, you guys.
Ooh, no, it was really unnecessary.
So much poop. And I was like,
yes, we need to work on training. Just bring the dog up more.
The dog's name is...
The first time Haman's hat popped up, I wrote, Brittany confused gif? We don't think that. And then...
Greg, come back.
I'm here.
When we're talking about how Greg Golem is only grunting, he said nothing. And I said, oh my God, is he not going to talk?
But then he did.
And then he says, Nrr. And I said, dying. He grunted almost like a promise. And I wrote prose.
Okay, so big question. Do Rick and I need to read this book?
No.
This is not how a TBI discharge would go.
Right, I can't just have watching, I was like, Julia's gonna have so many opinions about this. Okay, so she tries to get rid of him as the golem, the Greg Golem. So she like tries to fight him and like make him like.
And this whole time,
feed
there's
him.
another character we haven't talked about yet. There's this police officer.
Oh my God.
Who she may or may not have like been a little flirty with. It sounds like they didn't like officially like whatever, but
from the jump, still, I was like, that guy sucks.
Like literally, it says one of the good ones, and I wrote he did it. Page 111.
Shocking. He's a neo-Nazi.
Oh
no. Yeah, so that's all happening, and he doesn't like Greg Golem because he's a refrigerator. And
the
Greg
man
Golem
was built like a challah, and I wrote that like, you know, where it's like a hyphen and an underscore and a hyphen, that face where you're just like,
it was really
right.
It was a lot. So she's trying to destroy the golem. She like feeds him, and like he has to give him an impossible task. And so like she's doing all these things, and then he infiltrates the neo-Nazis and ends up getting a second traumatic brain injury.
Yeah.
And then he remembers who he is.
He knocks some sense back into himself.
And his name,
which is not how it works. Don't hit your head again if you hit your head once. Like it's just try not to.
This is the part that I told Rick about.
When your brain isn't well. Brainwell.
Rick, what's his name?
Rock Hard Rock. Granite Stoneman.
It's Greg Stoneman.
Oh, this was the like something Stonehenge that you texted.
Yeah, he said it was Rock Stonehenge, and I sent a picture of the rock and a picture of Stonehenge. His name is Greg Stoneman. He's an investigative reporter who had been sent there to uncover the neo-Nazi sect cell, and he's Jewish. Crazy how that works. And he's kind of like a transient, like he doesn't really believe in roots, he doesn't really settle down, and then he comes back and they fall in love and happily ever after. Greg Stoneman.
The book that we don't actually need to read.
Do you need to read it? I ended up giving it three.
We both gave it 3.5 stars.
And
okay.
I mean, for as like critical as my notes were, and as much as I was like, come on, for like most of the book, I got to a point where I couldn't put it down.
Me too.
And there was a point where the concept of the golem throughout folklore and how they presented it, it was extremely well researched. I learned a lot because at some point I like looked up pieces of it. This is not a tangent, I promise, but there's one story that they're talking about someone named Solomon Ibn Gabriel, who was like a guy in Prague who like created a golem to help him with stuff around the house, because he had this dermatological disease where he had these weeping sores and it would make him really tired, and then he couldn't do his housework. I happen to have a disease like that, and I would freaking love a golem doing that for me. And then I was like, oh my gosh, is this story about us? Like, is this story about us? And it's true. Like I looked it up and they were like, yeah, that guy might have had HS. It might have been lupus.
I didn't even clock that. That's so funny.
We don't really know because it was a really long time ago. And like, they probably told him he had, you know, the stones or something, because like we didn't really have a concept of
he had Rocky Stonehenge
back then. He had stone, right? But just super interesting stuff that I learned about, and I do feel like it was well researched, and I do feel like there's a void in what's out there right now in contemporary literature with like contemporary romance. There's just a big gap of Jewish stories that aren't being told. And after reading like a bunch of really fun Christian romance Christmas romance.
Although I would argue that like stupid Tessa Bailey book I read was Christian.
Yeah, that's fair. And Amanda has told me that she wants to contribute to filling this void where like maybe she could write some Jewish contemporary romance, because like we know the formula by now, right guys? Like we live happily ever after. Like we throw in some cute little cliche things. We make a silly exclamation.
She hates him for no reason.
Tropes are tropes for a reason, and it's because I love some of these similar things in books.
It's fun to read something predictable sometimes.
It is.
So,
exactly.
The world is burning. Let's have a good time.
I did. I ended up enjoying it. Like kind of, I think I like listed it as like my guilty pleasure book of the year of that one like challenge that I'm doing.
The Disney challenge. That's a good call. I haven't listed it for anything, but I might do that too. I gave it 4 stars and then knocked it down half a star for the hard kosher salami and said she could have saved it with soup. But I enjoyed it. For all the reasons Julia said, I It was engaging. The writing was fun, similar to like when you're reading an Allie Hazelwood novel and you're like, oh my God, she's such an idiot. Like that was pretty.
But then you're like, I'm an idiot sometimes. Do I deserve love?
Yeah. And he's a refrigerator-sized man who communicates via grunts. So like I was having a good time. I did think that he didn't have like a fully fleshed out personality in a way that kind of bugged me. But I guess he had amnesia. So like,
oh, I disagreed. I feel like, so they did like a perspective shift where
it was
like
POV.
he's grunting, but then in his chapters, he was actually like really deep and really well spoken. And so you're like, oh, he's grunting, but he's maybe in like a Frankenstein kind of way, right? Where like
Frankenstein is based on the Golem story.
Right. But like the monster actually has all this depth and like man is the monster.
The monsters turned out to be just trees, actually.
We brought it back to Out of the Woods.
There we go.
And into the weeds.
And into the woods.
Okay, I want to acknowledge that it is coming up on late, yeah, and I would imagine that, you know, Rick in particular, and I know you guys were supposed to have gone to dinner at your dad's house.
Yeah.
We're going.
So we just wanted to hang out with you guys. This was fun.
I know, I love it.
Thank you for letting us yap on our little bonus novella about magical meet cute, 3.5 stars, kissy face soups. And your homework is to read Assassin's Blade.
Nope.
Crown of Midnight, chapters 1 through 29. Stop when you see chapter 30.
1 through 29. Okay.
That's it.
I love it.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, guys. Good to see you. Thanks for letting me hang out.